Welcome back to 50 and Fine, everybody. I'm grateful that you are here visiting with us. Today, I am excited because I'm joined by Andre Brantley, who is an educator, an activist, leadership, a strategist, a coach, and he has built a career that has bridged higher education for youth and community advocacy. So, from serving as director of admissions at institutions like Clark Atlanta University, Georgia State University, and then also coordinating dual enrollment and career pathways across Georgia. Right. So Andre has spent years helping students and families navigate access and opportunity and direction for higher education. So I want to applaud him for that right there. Now, as a CEO of BNB Strategy Group and the voice behind the Silent Partner podcast, which if you don't know, please follow him so you can learn about the Silent Partner podcast. Andre continues to work mentoring young Black Americans and fostering conversations that build intellectual and working capital in both rural and urban communities. So this conversation today is about legacy. It's about leadership. It's about responsibility and how we should show up with intention, especially after 50. So welcome, Andre.
Thank you.
Do you like Andre or Dre?
Either one.
Can I call you Dre?
Yeah,
okay.
Most people call me Dre. So
okay.
That's fine.
So we're calling him Dre today. Yeah. So Dre, you're on the front lines with young people every day. With college access and financial aid and scholarships. What are you seeing right now that most over 50 or 45 and above adults may not realize is happening beneath the surface?
Oh, wow. Great question. What I see is that we get so engaged with our daily lives, right? As parents, whether it's a single parent household or whether it's a two-parent household, we're working, whereas the income levels, they vary between an African-American household and a Caucasian household and an Asian
Absolutely.
and Hispanic. And so oftentimes we don't see the engagement early on. We see it later on. What I mean by early, so any high school senior that started school this year, college applications open August 1st.
Yes.
Okay. Now, early action ends around December 15th. And what that means, this is where all the scholarship dollars, the Pell Grant, the free money, this is where it's offered to students.
And allocated, right?
Yeah, it's allocated to students then. Now, a lot of our students, when I say that, I mean African-American students, they're waiting to after January. A lot of the free money, the scholarship dollars is gone. And so that's one thing that I see. And I try to encourage it differently. And I get it. So here's the big thing. Here's the key.
Okay.
We often hear about 9 through 12, 9th grade through 12. The most important stage is K through 3.
Wow.
Because that's where that's where you learn your reading and your reading comprehension. And so then from there, it's not where you have a deficit where you're trying to, catch up or go back and learn the skill. And then as you get older, then you begin to understand what it's going to take, to academically, the career pathways that you're taking, curriculum that you're taking, and the grades that you need to make to actually get in college.
Yes.
And so what happens, we end up seeing a lot of our students once they get in high school, and they say, oh, I didn't do as well, up until 8th grade. And now they're trying to make up for it in 9th, 10th, and 11th. And unfortunately, a lot of times, it's too late for a lot of them.
Wow.
It's too late for a lot of them. And so it impacts their GPA. And so that's why we see a lot of our students that are applying in January.
Trying to wait and see what that GPA looks like.
Yeah, they're thinking it's going to help, but you've accumulated too many credits for it to help.
Yeah. So start early is what he's saying.
Yes.
Parents, start with your children early on. Don't allow them to wait. Because, teenagers think they know everything. Yes. So they're like, I got this, Mom. No, don't let them tell you that, because most of the time they don't have it.
Yeah. Let me add one thing. And a lot of our public schools, they do not, public high schools, They do not have college counselors or college advisors. They have counselors that are doing a dual role, which means they're working with students, for mental counseling. They're working with students on scheduling, and they may not have the time or give the necessary time to also do that college planning. And so it creates a challenge. Now, there are some schools that do have both school counselors and
advisors
and college advisors, right? And so those students, they have a greater advantage. But understand, parents, understand what type of school your child is attending, because if he or she doesn't have that, then there may be gaps, there may be fall offs. And then that's where you either have to step in or you have to hire someone to assist your child to ensure they're ready when they graduate high school.
Right. So you have to prepare yourself as well. You have to learn and know that information as well. So being of the age of experience and wisdom now, we're often the ones that is sharing knowledge and information and teaching. But what lessons have the youth taught you about the world or even yourself?
Yeah. One thing about the youth now, they're unafraid.
Right?
Unafraid. I mean, they would try things that we never would try.
Not even a thought process sometimes, right?
Yeah, not even a thought process. And then also said unafraid, meaning they're brave a lot of times, And then they're taking on career paths or outlets that maybe we didn't look at. Like, okay, they're going right off to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They're looking at things like that. Or they're saying, I'm gonna take a year off. I'm not going to college.
That's not something
that's not something
we were doing. No.
We're doing. And so that's a good asset about them.
It is.
But making sure they have a true plan and understanding how to get those resources. That's really the key that I share for a lot of students. For example, if you're thinking about you're going to start a business, okay, you're going to need your training, your skill set, then you got to get access to a business loan,
right?
The marketing,
you still need all of those things.
All those things, right? And so I share that with students, and some of them, they have parents that are entrepreneurs, but then there are others that I want to do this. I don't want to go to traditional college, and that's fine. Guess what? Now we're seeing a shift.
Yes.
So technical college.
Yes.
There's a lot of benefits, a lot of avenues in the technical college space. But once again, there is a placement test.
Yeah.
You must make a certain score for certain,
especially certain
fields.
Trades.
Yeah, certain trades.
Yeah.
There's still, a certain score you need to make. And then our students need to make sure that they're protecting their credit early, making sure that the transcripts are gonna fit the bill, because you're still competing.
Yes.
You're still competing at the end of the day. And so, and knowing, and then guess what? Now we are dealing with AI.
Right. So, and you have to incorporate that in your career plan too, because it's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. So there are a few different caveats that we have to really consider, our students have to consider. My key is, parents, if I don't say anything else, start early. Start early with talking and communicating with your kids about, the competitive nature, what's happening with the economy, how the economy is shrinking, how AI and, different things like that are shrinking the job market, the job space, making it more competitive. So you got to understand that.
Yeah.
You got to definitely understand that.
The conversation is what's really important, because I remember I had two of those scenarios that you mentioned. I had one son that he was very, very smart, but he didn't see school as knowledge,able. He thought it was just, especially in high school, it was like, this is just stupid, mom.
Yeah.
So he wasn't so excited about going to college. He was like, I'm gonna take a break. And he did grow up with entrepreneurs, so he knew that was a path he wanted to go. So I let him take the year. And then I was like, okay, now you got to go so you can figure out, because I believe school is about networking too.
Yes.
Especially at HBCUs. That's a whole nother conversation, but I believe that. So I pushed him to do that, and now he's there doing that. And then I had another son that was going to go to school, and it didn't pan out for him. But then he went to he got a job as a HVAC tradesman, and was able to get into the union and become, trade school for a journeyman. So I had both of those.
Yeah.
So having the conversation about different pathways and not being, I think we and our generation was more strict about the pathways.
Yeah.
You do this to get to this, and that. And this generation understands there's so many different roads that you can go to get to different pathways. And I wish I had that growing up. So
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. When you look at the challenges that today's youth are navigating through, how much of it feels new and how much of it feels like history repeating itself?
Wow. It feels new, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
For instance, this administration that we have in office now, you've heard of the One Big Beautiful Plan.
Right.
Yeah. I read, I think it's about 1,100 pages. I read almost all
of them
1,100 pages because I didn't want to miss anything as a consultant, as a speaker, and working with individual leadership development. I wanted to make sure that I was knowledgeable, right? And so here's the tough part. Now, when I was in college and when you went to school, we were not capped at Pell Grant.
No.
Student loans were not capped.
No.
And then there was not the default rate for the institution. Schools were not penalized as much. Now that has changed. And then the last thing, Parent Plus loans. Now the Parent Plus loans, they are capped. So we're talking about $20,000 per year for Parent Plus loans.
Oof.
Now you mentioned HBCUs. A lot of our HBCUs, I want to make sure I speak this into the camera.
Yes.
Many of our HBCUs, they may have a challenge with the default rate.
Okay.
And that means student loan default rate. 9.3% is what the feds are looking to implement this upcoming July. And if our institutions exceed that, that's when they cut their funding.
They cut the funding.
And so parents, you must be well aware, not just of the school your son or daughter is choosing, but also, what type of financial aid packages they're getting because they may be beyond the default rate. And so that's creating a challenge for our students, and particularly if they're going to private HBCUs, right? You mentioned Howard, and then I worked at Clark Atlanta. So those are private. They cost more than our state HBCUs, such as Savannah State and Albany State and Fort Valley and different schools like that. So you have to really, really plan accordingly. Make sure you understand that there's some federal regulations that's impacting what students are awarded now. And then for each major and how much funding increases each year, you got to really be comprehensive about what's happening. Otherwise, we may see some students that may have a funding gap.
I'm sure.
Last semester.
It's so unfortunate, but like Dre is saying, I think if we know, the more we know, the more we can do about it and be in front of it.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, it's not often talked about because you really have to do your research, especially if you have school-age kids or even grandkids or nieces or nephews. It must be, and what I've tried to do with my podcasts, have a collective conversation where we're always talking about those things that are important. Because it's not, a person like me, I worked in higher ed 15, 16 years before start doing the counseling and consulting. So it's near and dear to me.
Right.
But others, it may not be, right?
Yes,
and
exactly.
So they're not really paying attention. They're thinking that everything is set up to provide enough funding or to provide this and provide that. But if you don't see what the government officials are doing by cutting funding, or should I say, restricting funding, you may find yourself where your son or daughter is not receiving what they need.
You're 100% right that the average person, it is not in their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
They don't know that that's happening. They assume that everything is going to be available as long as the child does what it needs to do, what they need to do to get it. But that's not always the case. So
yeah, it's definitely not the case.
Yeah. Why is history important? And how are we ensuring that our young people know their history, especially in this social media driven age?
I mean, history is so important. It's vitally important because history tells a story first and foremost. It tells a story of, what the beginning was, what the challenges were, what the struggles were, and what we overcame, right? And so our young people need to understand that so that it's not repeated. And so in today's time, we see a lot of young people that are exercising their right to protest and do this, that, and the other. But my personal opinion, not enough of us understand history to that point. I never forget when I was, I think, 25, I decided to read not just a Black history book, but the book, The War Between the North and the South. Okay. To just kind of figure out what the premise was. You know, what was really critical, you know, and understanding, of course, you know, the North wanted to make sure that the South was emancipated, totally embracing what the American government was bringing in. But that's vitally tough because our kids are very well outspoken. They are. They have access to social media. So social media shows them that they can do this. We didn't grow up with social media like that. No. And so they have access to this, access to that. And whereas we maybe were taught to go to school, finish your degree, or get a trade, or go into the military, or become an entrepreneur, and then once you're at a place where you can afford to live on your own, either buy a home or get your own place. Now these young folk, they'll live together. Yes, they will. They'll live together. And I'll be honest, my kids, they have their own place, but I had to come to a reality where I'm like, that may be a good idea. No, it's absolutely a good idea, Dre. Yeah, but a few years ago, I wouldn't have said that a few years ago, Rhonda, because I agree with you. I wouldn't have either. Yeah, the price of real estate has changed so much, right? Yeah. And I wouldn't have said that. I'm like, okay, now I'm looking at the price of real estate and looking at the average and median salaries that they're paying. It's not adding up. The math is not mathing. It's not mathing. So, you know, parents, you know, hopefully you're not like my dad. It's time to change. Now kids need to, you know, really stay home and learn how to invest and save their money and understand, you know, the housing market, interest rates, and when to purchase and all that. So yeah, that's a tough piece. And I think was the second part of the question. Oh, I just was asking how social media plays a part in it. Yeah, but yeah. And we know social media is huge. Yeah. I mean, social media is everywhere. You look at the different platforms. And I think the older generation of us, you know, we're from Facebook to, you know, Instagram and other places. But we really didn't have that as young people. Right. So we got that in what, in our 40s, late 30s, 40s. Yeah. Yeah. But social media plays a huge role because I'm going to say this, and this is what a lot of parents may not think about it, but it plays a huge role in mental health. It's really because kids are seeing kids their age or their peers that are doing some different things, and so then it becomes pressure. Yeah, absolutely. Right, and then they're seeing where it appears that they're failing, or kids not measuring up, or either where, you know, kids are scrutinizing or picking at them. Yes, so absolutely. You really have to monitor, you know, the social media use, and then have conversations about social media and, you know, and the role that it plays. And because, you know, our kids really, that's their age, that's their generation. That's their generation. They've had it forever. Like my nieces don't know a world without it. Yeah. Yeah. So, but you definitely have to have a conversation about it because it does affect. And everyone knows I'm a huge psychology, mental health freak. So, having the conversation though about it being a tool and knowing that it's a tool to get and do all the things that you want to do, but for it not to be your everything, and to have real conversations about how you feel about it, what's affecting you. Yeah. And I think kids are a lot more outspoken now. All my kids talk about therapy now. You know what I mean? Versus, my generation, that wasn't a thing. Yeah. So I think it has advantages and disadvantages, of course. I just think we just need to talk more to our children about the advantages of it and how to manage it. Yeah, I totally agree. In addition to that, I told my kids how to find ownership with it. Because that's where you begin to generate revenue. Absolutely. Ownership and making money off of it. Some IPs. You know? Yeah. So that's vitally important. If history is our best teacher, which I believe,
what lesson do you think this generation of adults cannot afford to ignore right now?
This generation of adults.
Yeah.
I think that here's the errors, and I'll say this.
Yes.
Everything I'm about to say, this is what I think they cannot afford to forget. So right after the Civil War, 1865, right? Then you had what we call the Redemption period. And then we had what we call the Jim Crow era.
Yes.
Then what we call the Civil War era. And then civil rights, I'm sorry. And after civil rights, and the next thing you saw after that was more like Black Lives Matter. Huge gap.
Huge gap.
I think they need to remember that. So for those that have not gone back, you know, I used to often hear mentors say, you must know where you come from to know where you're going. And that's what I did. I promise you, I can remember the day I pulled up on my driveway and I was just like, in my hometown, all my people live on one side of town. All live on another side of town. And there's a discrepancy in the types of homes and everything. And so from that point, I picked up the book, The War Between the North and the South, and start reading it. And then I start integrating books such as The Miseducation of the Negro and different things like that. And so our kids need to understand it, because if you don't understand it, in my opinion, if you don't understand it, you don't know what you're contending with.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't know what you're contending with, right? This administration now is we're talking about the Epstein files.
Right.
And some people are saying to themselves, what's the importance of the Epstein files? Well, I'll say one thing. I'll let that go. If the president of these free United States is in the Epstein files, that speaks volumes.
It speaks volumes.
It speaks volume to everything that he's doing and the way he's carrying out the administration in America. So I think that understanding all those periods that I mentioned is vitally important for adults now. I know it is for me. People often will say to me when they hear me speaking or saying this or saying that, hey man, you need to come speak over here. You need to do that. Man, where'd you get that from? And I told him, I said, I went back.
Yes.
I went back. And it was just the good Lord. I went back and read that book, and it brought me to where I am now.
I also think that we have to remember where we are in our current state, and we don't know if we'll continue to have access to some of this information, these books, because I am sure that they would like to wipe out some of that. So not only is it important just to know your history, it's important to have that information, because we might not have access to it at some point, and we might have to go back to Oracle.
Yeah.
You know? So, but if you don't know,
it's true.
You can't pass that information on.
That is so true.
So this is my little take on that.
No, they've shown us that. Think about it. They started taking the Black history books out of school.
Exactly. They're erasing it.
So yeah, they're trying
or changing it.
Yeah.
Like some parts didn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, really, pay attention.
Yes.
So you need to know what's going on, what happened, so you can continue passing that on for generations. And we know how powerful we are.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it is.
Let's talk about the role of Black men,
okay,
especially across generations. What responsibilities do you feel are inherited, and which ones do you think we can redefine or change?
Yeah, I think, inherited. I think there has to be, whether it's your father, whether it's your uncle or someone, you have to inherit how to be a man. And that means not only just protecting the household, but also providing for the household. And then and setting a futuristic plan for the household. Whether you're married or not, or whether you have young men in your lives, because we have to understand that we were brought into this country. And of course, and then there were certain things that was done to separate the Black family. And so even continuous, right? And so even as a Black man now, that say you don't have any kids, or say that you're not with your kids, living with them or married or what have you, there is still a calling on you. There's someone that's brought into your life. I say this all the time at the cigar lounge.
Mm.
God put someone in your life where he gives you that bond, and you can feel there's something there that you need to kind of, maintain, stay, and continue to speak into that child's life. So to that point is that no matter if you don't have kids, no matter, there is a responsibility out there. There's a responsibility. And you just have to know when you get that feeling, you get that rapport, that's kind of like, something between me and this young man, this young lady or whatever. But yeah, I think that's vitally important, especially, I mean, you think about what the drug era did to Black men.
Oh my God. On both sides.
On both sides. It just wiped us out. And I know it was intentional, whether you all believe it or not.
It was definitely
It was
intentional.
intentional because America understood the importance of the man being in the house. We often hear about the head and the tail and all that, right? And if you're a good man, a woman will follow a good man. She will follow a good man. And so those are some critical points there. And then knowing how to regroup when some things happen. I think oftentimes,
things are going to happen.
Yeah, things are going to happen, right? And just knowing how to regroup, whether some of us are strong enough, independently enough, or whether it takes counseling. A lot of Black men, we didn't believe in counseling.
No, we didn't.
We didn't believe in counseling.
And I'm not going to say Black men. I think it was a culture and a generation thing, because I believe the boomers before us definitely did not believe in it.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? So then I think us, that kind of spilled over into us till we got a little older.
Yeah.
And we're still seeing the remnants of it. That's all I think. But yeah, definitely some therapy to process, to learn how to work through and navigate what's going on in the mind.
Yeah, because I feel like there's always an attack on who we are and what we stand for as a people. You just think about now, I don't have to go through it.
Yeah.
Everything now. And here's something that I posted this on Facebook. You may have seen it. Is that Black and brown people are having 2 to 3 times the number of babies than Caucasians.
Oh yeah, I saw
Right?
it.
And so, and you may be somewhere and you hear some of your Caucasian friends or colleagues, they're talking about having children, having more children. And it speaks to the reason why we see this happening with immigration.
Yes.
From Minnesota to other areas. It's all about ensuring that the numbers are there.
Yes.
The numbers are there. And so, so I think that a comprehensive conversation, making sure that we understand every aspect, and that they're going to be challenges, and that things may shift a little bit over time. Like you said, with the baby boomers, we never thought about counseling. But now we're at a period now where I know I talk to a lot of guys now, and they're more open to it.
So much more open.
So much more open to it. And so, so that's a big piece, big transition. And I tend to try to read a lot. I'm not a television person.
Okay.
I'm not a television person, so I try to protect my psyche. Now I like to watch the news here and there, and sports, but even with sports, I can see the hands in there too. But so once I started understanding things and how they're,
you're paying attention to what you're allowing inside.
Yes, for sure.
It's very good.
For sure.
So you mentioned just the attack and taking Black men out of the household, which has been going on since slavery, since being here. So, but definitely, and then in the 70s, it became very huge, and it's still going on. But getting back to the responsibility of men, and that even reminds me of how they are the leaders in the community as well. You know what I mean? And how we used to be more village and community driven, and that being, and women will follow that as well. Once that's being done and said and shown, they will follow that as well.
You know what I think is impacting that to a major degree? If you think about it, when we grew up with our grandparents, like my grandfather was the main breadwinner. My grandmother was a homemaker. She She cleaned up, you know, the wealthiest households and different things. And then all of a sudden we saw a shift. And what I mean by that, we saw a shift in where Black men were not able to generate enough income to take care of the household. So then all of a sudden the mother
had to go and work.
Had to go to work. That didn't change for Caucasians, their families, because of the discriminatory acts and hiring and pay, raise and pay.
Redlining and all of that.
Redlining and all that, right? So that began to impact our households. And so, you know, that's a conversation that has to be had, but also advocacy. I think that we need to start running for public office more. Now, all of us are not called to public office.
Everyone's not, but we definitely need more of us.
We need more of us. I get pushed at least once a week, and I often share that I don't feel God.
You don't feel that's not your calling,
and because I can be a bit abrasive, and you know, in politics you have to carry yourself in a certain manner. And I like to be explicit and honest, and so let me work from
behind.
Here. You know, if I get that calling one day, I'm not saying it's not in the future, but I said we need to be inside those chambers, because when they sign off on laws and voting, like midterm is coming up, right? And so we know what the numbers are. We know what the numbers are. And so we know it's going to take people from both sides of the aisle to vote.
Absolutely.
In order
for that change to happen. Yeah. You're right. We definitely need more in office. So maybe that's about encouraging young people to see that as a viable option as well.
Yeah, I definitely think that is one thing. I also think that, I don't know about you, but in my household, we never talked about history, political science. We never talked about government, economics.
We didn't talk about it at all. You're right. I wanted to be in it only because I wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay.
Gotcha. But it wasn't talked about.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And so when those fields are not talked about, there's no interest a lot of times, right? And so you have some kids that just, you know, like, we're interested in podcasting or whatever. They're interested in politics or political science. And so they take that route, but we hadn't had enough.
Right.
We hadn't had enough.
We didn't,
so I try to make sure that I have those conversations with my kids. And then, of course, if there's some mentees that I'm working with, I tell them the importance of us being in those positions, because when it comes time to vote, when it comes time for someone to speak in front of Congressional Hall about what's important to the community, if you don't have anyone
that represent you,
it's going to be tough.
Yeah. As a member of Omega Psi Phi,
yes,
one of the Divine Nine,
so Black brilliance, that's it.
How did that brotherhood shape you? Not just as a student or leader, but as a man navigating, you know, service, accountability, responsibility across your life.
Yeah. It really had an impact on my life. And like you said, not from school and all that. My cousin, my older cousin, who's my father's age, he was a Georgia State representative at one point. And rest in peace, Brother Wilbur Carver. And it showed me that we had to be involved and engaged. Right? And so it was almost like God had laid out, because in high school, I was Mr. Fitzgerald High School, my high school. So I won senior superlative. I was homecoming king. And I had a few that I was captain, you know, so I had always been in leadership. Right? And so Omega Psi Phi, to me, it stood out because of not only the men that were involved, engaged, and intellectual, but also the persona, meaning that the personalities of Omega was just different. It was just different. So it kind of drew me in. And so I pursued Omega and became an Omega. And
was that in that undergrad?
No, I started there. But actually crossed and graduate. But the premise of it was that Omegas had a persona and an attitude in which they carried themselves that I lined up.
Okay.
That I lined up.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, and so once I became an Omega, the service part of it was more natural because I saw the impact that we was having on the community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and even with that being said, a quick plug here on this Thursday at a Sears Cigar, we're having a Divine Nine.
Oh, okay.
Divine Nine, Sip and Smoke, and we're going to talk collectively about how we can impact this upcoming election.
Okay.
You know, I want to make sure that although we're different organizations, but we have similar goals. Mm-hmm. And I just want to make sure that, you know, we're doing our part in our respective.
You definitely have similar goals. You're just, yeah.
And so, yeah. So for me, yeah, Omega is all about service. You know, it's all about, of course, academia, and of course, giving back to your community, your fellow brotherhood, and lifting as we climb. Brothers that are watching know what I'm saying. Lifting as we climb, and that mantra, lifting as we climb, is just, you know, if we know that the road is not the same for us, so we have to lift others. Yes, as we make the climb. You know, whether it's career, whether it's corporate, whether it's politically, and making sure that that's the right fit. The person is right, and then mentoring those, you know, that want to pursue certain areas, but they may not necessarily have the mentorship. But yeah, Omega has had a major impact on my life because I've met brothers from different walks of life, different parts of the country, and even out of the country. And when you think back on our founders and what they did in 1911,
yeah,
at Howard University, we are
the Howard University.
And so, you know, we're the first African American fraternity founded at Howard University. And so, and it was a challenge. And so that right there to me, because I can understand in 1911, how HBCUs are afraid. You know,
oh yeah,
cause this is going to do that. But our founders, they stayed the course, they persevered, and they made sure that we were established at Howard, and we've been working since then. And so I take, you know, service and giving back, you know, with a lot of pride, and understanding that it's part of our role. Yeah, it's part of our role. And so, yeah, and then for that, last thing I'll say is that when you see young men that have the leadership quality or characteristics, you encourage them. You encourage them to pursue other areas because they can have a greater impact.
Yes.
They can have a greater impact. And so
that's what's really important, having that greater impact. And I'll say that I don't know if there's young people watching, but young people who watch, sometimes all they see is when we are engaging and enjoying, you know, the Divine Nine, how we are. And I'm not in the Divine Nine, but I was around a lot of them. But there's so much more to the Divine Nine and what they do and their brotherhood, their sisterhood, and their service. So I wanted to make sure that you tapped on it and they understood that it's not all the fun. The fun is in there. Yes. But it's so much deeper. Yes. And it's so much more about lifting each other up and pushing each other to greater heights and leadership. And so I just wanted to make sure that we talked about that a little bit. Yeah. Sure. What values from that experience still guide you and how you show up for the youth today?
Yeah, so the values that guide me, our 4 cardinal principles are manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and output.
Well, there it is.
And so those 4 guide me to this day. And if you just want to take this to the biblical aspect, purple stands for royalty.
It does. It does.
Royalty. And gold was the most valuable substance known to mankind. And so I take those characteristics very, very to heart. And so, and if you look at our cards, manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift, it mattered in 1911 and it matters in 2026 because we need men like never before. Yeah. We need men to play their roles, to step up.
Yes.
Scholarship will always be important, not just formal schooling, you know, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you decide not to go to college. scholarship is being informed and knowledgeable about what it is you do on a daily basis, or how you need to, create a better life for yourself. And then perseverance. We all go through challenges, right? We all go through challenges. And so you have to know how to make it through those challenges.
Yes.
Whether you have a good friend, a frat brother, a line brother, or whether it's prayer and supplication, whatever it is, you must know how to persevere in this thing we call life. And because you're gonna have some hard times, you're gonna have some challenges, right?
Yeah, you are.
And so you got to understand that what you go through makes you better when you get to the other
I
side.
was just about to say that.
It makes you better. And then our last card is uplift. Everything you've gone through, it prepares you to uplift someone else when they are going through, or if you recognize that maybe they're going through and they don't know they're going through, you can speak word, you can speak life into them. And so that uplift is for us as a community to do that, and especially Black men. And so I try to do it on a regular basis. I try to practice my life doing that. Sometimes, I'll say this right here, especially while we're sometimes and sometimes when one of us tries to help another, try to help a group of others, our people, our men take it the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
They take it the wrong way, right? And we have to understand that there are deficits in our community. We have to understand that some people get exposed and get experience in areas that others don't. And so we're trying to help the situation, or trying to provide some information that I know maybe you're not exposed to. And so I don't want us to get so defensive. I think that's one of the things, the painful things that I hated and detested about slavery.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to vet it. You got to vet the person, because slavery taught you that, fellow brothers trying to get you, and that's how they kept us.
That's how they kept us.
Yeah.
And now I think it has transformed into this. I believe in pride and ego, but I believe it has a place. And I think we have to be people of discernment to know when it doesn't have a place. And sometimes I think that plays a part in when we're trying to receive information, or we're rejecting information, especially in the male community.
Yes.
So I think sometimes when you're able to check that a little bit more, I think you receive more. I think you grow. I think you learn more. Yeah, that's just my take. And you were talking about perseverance and obstacles, and I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and it's so funny. I think we said it at the same time. It was like knock on wood, that I believe that obstacles are designed to make us who we are. I believe everything that we experience in life is a lesson. It's just a matter of if you're open to the lesson, or if you've rejected that lesson. So I'm going to say, whatever you're going through, think about, okay, what am I supposed to be getting from this? Or what do I need to take from this to give to somebody else later? Because it might not even be for you, but it's something you needed to have for later. So just always know obstacles are just to elevate you to the next plane.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
So a lot of adults over 45, I think we're still unlearning things that we were taught just to survive.
Yes.
So when you are guiding young people today, what are you intentionally trying to disrupt or interrupt that we didn't? You know what I mean? That we didn't get.
I get it. I try to be intentional about the truth.
Okay.
And what I mean by that, I heard T.D. Jakes say this a long time ago. Systems are hard to break. Systems are hard to break. And so you got the education system, you got the government system, you got the criminal justice system, you got the political system, you got all these systems, right? And so I try to be straightforward and honest with young people. And I think oftentimes when we grew up, our parents or our mentors, they kind of tried to go around, keep from, whether hurting us or disappointing us. And so I try to make sure I'm 100% honest with young people about the challenges they're going to face, about this world we live in, about the sacrifice they're going to have to make, the investment they're going to have to make. And then they still gonna fall short in some areas.
In some areas.
And even when you do everything right, it still may not turn out the way you want it. You have to keep plugging. You have to keep plugging. And then sometimes you have to go back. Go back and make sure you didn't miss a step. And have a mentee, a mentor.
Important.
Yeah. Have a mentor. It's vitally important. And then, you know, have a system where you or you evaluate yourself. You want to have an evaluation system to see, you know, from the year beginning to the year end, to see what you achieved, what you accomplished, why you didn't accomplish it, what you need to do to get better. But I think the number one thing is being vitally honest with young folks. We try to protect them. Well, I know our parents try to protect us for so long. And so we believe one thing about the world when it's total opposite.
Yeah.
You know, and now we're seeing these things come to pass. And then making sure that young folks get experiences, exposing them to things, and we have to invest in them.
We do.
We have to invest in them. I never forget. I put my kids in. They used to go to camp at Georgia Tech over the summers. It's about Wall Street on Peachtree.
Oh, that's what it was called.
Yeah, Wall Street on Peachtree. And the reason I put them in that because I want them to learn about investing, learn about the stock market, different things like that. It was a sacrifice because driving them down there and also paying $400 right?
Yeah.
But we live, we're in this world, we're not of this world, so we're in this world, we have to know how it operates.
It operates. Yeah. And I agree with creating opportunities for them to experience. So if your child doesn't have a mentor, or I know it used to be like big brothers when we were coming up, I encourage you to help your child find someone that can help him or her navigate that you won't be able to. Sometimes our kids don't get it from us. They reject it from us. So find someone else that they can get it from so they can be a successful citizen, not just in whatever job they're trying to have, but just a person to this world. But creating opportunities, like my girlfriend and I are starting an initiative where we're trying to take young people 17 to 25 to get to travel, because some people don't even get out of their own community. So of course we're going to travel to different states, but I would love to take them out the country, you know? So, but I wasn't afforded that opportunity growing up. So, and that's for you 50 and over people. Create some opportunities for our young people. Let's be intentional about it. Yeah. So when we talked earlier, we talked about some of the things we wanted to talk about. And one of the things you brought up was the power of one. So I want to hear from you what it means, the power of one to you.
Yeah. I think that when I mentioned that, you know, slavery disjointed us, you know, we were in separate ways. Certain people went this village, went this area, went that area. And of course, over the years, there was not a collective goal for us as a people, as African Americans, as Black people. It was always intentional that they kept, you know, kept us from coming together. We can look at every movement. We can stop at Dr. King's movement. Every King to Malcolm X to Medgar Evers, we can go down the list.
You can keep going.
They assassinated all of our leaders.
Yeah.
So that tells you that the power of one, it must be, because they made sure they took out anyone that was leading us to come together as one.
To unity. Yeah.
To unify on a common goal. And of course, disrupt our economics and our school district. So that's what I meant by the power of one. Like right now, what was happening with, of course, ICE and the government. And so all these Fortune 500s and these major corporations decided to do away with DEI. Right? Pastor Jamal Bryant, shout out to Jamal Bryant. And also Al Sharpton was on the back end as well. And they started advocating for us to not to spend our money with these certain vendors and businesses, right? See what happened with Target.
Yeah.
Lost 12 billion. CEO had to resign. And so the power of one.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by that. Whatever we do, it's unfortunate that we have to do it.
It is so unfortunate, but it's the reality.
Yeah, the reality. It's necessary that we have to have a common goal. And right now we're still so disjointed. We're not really connected because, a lot of us participated and many of us didn't. And there's a list of these companies that got rid of DEI, and we're still spending our money.
We're still spending our money
We're
there.
still spending our money there.
Yeah.
And if we understand, if we stop spending our money, hey, go to your small businesses, go to your local Black-owned business.
Please.
Please do that.
And is it that we need to continue to say what these companies are?
Yeah.
Because I feel like people get on that bandwagon when it happens, and then they do it for a minute and they forget or go back.
Yeah. And I think that has a lot to do with how we're set up in America. For example, if you take the average suburban white family, the mother may not be working. She's raising the kids. Father makes enough money to take care of the household. And then they're exposed to so many different opportunities from, entrepreneurs to successful businesses. They're exposed in so many different ways, right? And we have to keep reiterating what's happening because our kids are just the opposite.
Right.
Just the opposite. Even though we have areas just like, South Fulton and Cascade and all these areas where we have African Americans that are doing well, there's still a huge
gap,
disparity, a huge gap, right? And so that's why we have to keep reiterating what and who these companies are and what they're doing. Because I'll say this, I was a huge Starbucks guy. Coffee.
Yeah.
I cut it off.
My daughter was the same way.
Yeah.
She was Starbucks out and no Starbucks for her.
Yeah, I cut it off. And so then I started getting, some of because I like a bold coffee. And so I started buying from this lady I met at the Tampa Cigar Convention. Ordered the coffee brands from her. So
and she's Black owned, isn't she? So then you see what could happen, right? Yeah. So I think we're too comfortable as Americans, and we don't want to give up our convenience.
Yes.
But we as marginalized communities can't afford to live in that thought process.
Yes.
So we have to be willing to give up all of those because we're going to be the first.
Yes.
To be cut, the first to suffer. So, and why are we supporting things that not only don't support us, but that we don't gain anything from?
That's a good question.
So we have to start asking ourselves that question. When you're going out and shopping and being intentional, like I go to the hair store and I swear sometimes, it's so much easier just to go, up here to the big box, right?
Gotcha.
But then I have to force myself like, no, I'm going to go around the corner to my little black owned hair supply store. So we have to do those kind of things. We have to force ourselves. It's the only way we're going to make a real difference. And then we got to remember that circulates back in our own community versus, they don't want us. So, I don't know. That's my take. So you often said that access changes outcomes. Where do you think the access breaks down the most? And then whose responsibility is it to help close the gap, and how? Can we? I know we can, but I just want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, it's the access breakdown of outcomes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, like right now we talked about the money earlier with college students, right?
Right.
So now with the new plan is shrinking the amount of money.
Shrinking it.
So that's limiting access. So what's happening is that they want particular students to attend research universities. They want particular students to attend traditional four-year colleges than those that attend technical. So that's why they're setting things up the way they're setting it up. Because if you're a minority and you can't make a certain score on the SAT, guess what? You're going to a technical. Yeah. If you don't have the GPA and test score, you can't go to a comprehensive. And then if you don't make, of course, a higher score for the holistic, you're not attending that. So them having access is huge. Yeah. It is huge. And so I'm talking with parents and kids now, and hey, you need to make sure you get your son or daughter in this testing over here so they can learn how to take this test, because up until last year, testing had been removed for a lot of colleges. I remember that. Right? It had been removed, but now it's coming back. I was going to say it was because of COVID, though, right? COVID. Yeah. Now the SAT, ACT requirement is coming back, and so kids that are not able to pass that, they won't even be able to go a research university or comprehensive. And so then what that leaves us going to prepare for state colleges, universities, and technical colleges, which you can only work in your local state. You're not prepared to go work across the country, right, in other areas. And so limiting that access, which in turn limits what you're able to do, what kind of job you're able to get, what kind of income you're able to get. Yeah. It's tough. It's unfortunate, and we're going to have to make sure we're being as competitive as possible for the next 3 years until Trump comes out of office. But yeah, it makes it tough. Yeah. It makes it tough. And I even venture to say, I think they're also trying to limit access to information. Just think about how, and I'm not saying this was the best information, but it was still information, TikTok, and how they're trying to regulate that. So, and that's all about limiting your access to information or to people that have information. So, yes, having access or not having access can change the outcome, and you need to know that. Yes. Yeah. That is so true. Having access, you need to know that. And so our students can be more prepared in how to go about selecting things, and then more prepared once they get ready to go into their career path, because it's changing. Yeah. It's changing, and we got 3 more years of it. I know. 3 more years of it. Yeah. And this is not just for African American families or brown and Black people, but we're the most affected. And that's why I'm having this conversation that's directed really towards them, because we're the most affected by it. But it also, I think, not being in communities plays a huge part. And I think it's our generation. I think we're the guilty party here, but we were probably the most educated from the baby boomers. We're the first. And not only that, that also gave us access to more jobs, more money. And then we started moving into communities that were outside of our communities for the most part. And that created this separation a little bit as well. And I'm not saying, or maybe I am, I don't know, but I think we need to get back to that community living. Even when we were just talking about off camera about living in compounds and our kids living together, we might need to get back to that thought process for leadership purposes, for information exchange, I think for community building, wealth building. I don't know how it can happen, but I know that that is something that probably would benefit us as a community
tremendously.
I totally agree more.
Yeah. So that brings this full circle, I guess, especially to the over 45 community who's listening. I think maybe we can be a little disconnected from the younger generations. So what does bridging that gap actually look like in practice and not just in theory?
Yeah. You have to be intentional about it. Number one, right? Number two, those young folks, you got to find some common ground. You got to find some common ground. And for example, there are kids that come in my office now, and they're coming in, and I can tell if there's going to be a rapport. You know, you have to watch their mannerisms, watch what they say, and then watch the engagement when you see them down the hallway, off campus, whatever. But yeah, you have to find those opportunities where you can build rapport. You have to find those opportunities. And that's what I try to share with other adults that are consultants or educators. Like, gotta find a rapport. You gotta find a rapport with those students. And instead of just coming to work, that's just a job. You come here to get a check. No. Our students need you.
Yes.
They need you. Okay. I'm a part of Omega Psi Phi. All right. We have about 20 something mentees. And they need us.
Yes.
They need us. We meet once a month. And they need us, not just for those that may not have a father in the household, but also for those whose parents may not have gone to college or
that don't understand it.
That don't understand it. And so I try to share with friends and family that look for that opportunity to impact, and I promise you, you'll get whether it's God nudging you or whatever you believe in, you'll get that nudge. You'll get that feeling. Like, last thing I say is this: just like the upcoming event we have coming up at a SEER. My goal is that now each organization does their own thing, but collectively, that's what I want to do.
That's what you want to do.
Is that we begin working with young folk.
Okay.
Collectively, because if you see all these men coming together with these different colors on,
impactful.
It's impactful.
It's so impactful.
It's so impactful. So that's what I want.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
That's gonna be dope. And I'm gonna say to just any person that maybe feels a little disconnected or you're not as engaged with young people, look for opportunities because you might not be in a place where you're around young people all the time. Offer your services up somewhere. Go out, intentionally look for something in a way that you can provide service, help, whatever it is, time. Because sometimes they just need time. There's so many young women that don't know how to be a young woman. So it's just like you can provide just that, just talking to them about what that is, what that looks like. Find those opportunities, but it means you have to go out and be intentional about looking for an opportunity. I don't believe we are put here just to exist and not share the wealth of knowledge or experiences that we've had and not give it to someone else that is in need. So sometimes that means we got to look outside our normal circle or outside our normal everyday thing and go out to be that and do that. So
I totally agree with you on that. Trying to find where you're gifted at, where you have those resources and experience and share it with others, because our demographic, meaning our people, we don't have the same. We don't have the same resources, the same exposure. So we got to take the exposure that we have and make sure we're sharing it and giving it back, and then encourage them to do it in massive numbers. And hopefully one day we close this gap that we have within our community, so that our students will know, have better plans when they finish high school.
Like even, I don't think our children read as much.
No.
And I don't know how, I don't have that answer.
Yeah.
But that's something that someone could be working on, like how to get our kids back engaged in reading and enjoying reading and having their own book clubs.
Yeah.
We need them to get that information. We need them to not only know how to read, but read for knowledge, for better of self.
Right.
So many things, but there's so many ways that you can contribute, Gen Xers. But Joy, I think what you're doing is amazing. I think that is going to be so dope, so cool. And you're right, it is going to be impactful for people to see all of you come together and for them, because it'll be for them. So that's going to be good. I don't think this is going to air before you have this event on Thursday, but maybe I will do a post this week about it. For sure. So I met Dre at ASER.
Yes.
And just start following each other and found out what he does. And I was like, oh, he's perfect to come and sit on the podcast, right? So I thank you for the way that you show up for the youth, for the community, and the generations that are coming up behind us. I think conversations like this need to be had more often and remind us that this over 50 community we're not slowing down.
Yeah.
And I think we're about becoming more deliberate and intentional, spreading our voice, our vision, and our knowledge. So I'm grateful to be able to do that. I'm grateful that you came and shared this information with us. And I want you to tell people where they can find you.
Okay. All right. So first of all, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you for, like I said, the platform you're providing, from our demographic, our age.
Yes.
Right? What we're talking about. But make sure you're following her. So, but for me, you can find me at the.silentpartner on IG. On Facebook, you see me as Founder Brantley.
That's what it is.
And so you can follow me on those two, as well as I said IG.
Yeah, I think TikTok is the same.
TikTok.
I think your TikTok is the same, and I'll make sure I post them for you so you don't have to remember what he just said. It'll be on the screen for you.
Yes. So I appreciate you all following me. I try to provide information that we don't see on a regular basis. Right? We don't see on a regular basis based on the experience I've had with the railroad industry and higher ed, and then also in consulting. And so I try to share that information because typically you have to pay for that. And so once again, thank you all. Thank you.
Oh, and he is a speaker and a consultant. So if you need to hire him to speak, or you're looking for some consulting, some coaching, he is there for that as well. So I'll make sure you have all his information.
All right.
I thank you guys for listening. I hope you got something from this. I hope you take this information and pass it to some youth around you, and that you get more engaged with the youth and the generations that are under us. So until next time, please stay fine, stay 50, stay thriving, and be deliberate. Be intentional about what you're doing. We have a lot to offer. Peace.